I welcome you to Strategies podcast and to share the knowledge and experience of the learned speaker who is Todd White with us. This podcast is essentially being run for the benefits of the business managers and the professionals. Let me share with you how we are going to proceed, and this advancements is going to take place with the view of uh, with the view of advancements of the business in the present time, with the challenges of the present time. So the agenda for the presentation is introduction to PMO strategies. I'm going to talk more about the strategies who are the who are the responsible professionals running this podcast, and going to share with you the purpose of Strategic Corner podcast. Then the insightful views and experience of the learned speaker is going to be shared with you. And then finally, what services are provided by PMO strategists in general to the businesses and the professionals. So this is how we are going to proceed. Here, let me share with you the strategic podcast is being shared here with you for the purpose of learning and for the purpose of enhancing the competence of the businesses and professionals. And this is this the value of this podcast is captured from the second opinion, is from the viewpoint of the learned speaker who has put whatever he's going to share into practice and brought the desired result. So the value of that learning is going to bring you the real value, and that has got to be captured. Of course, the learned speaker is going to share his experience and learnings and practical approach to the challenges in the business and advancements. So this area again now regarding the PMO strategies and the speaker and the organizer, who is Aslam Mirza. Assalamu alaikum. I am the CEO and founder of PMO Strategies, and I have very extensive exposure to the business industry, particularly in construction industry. I come from construction, and my exposure and experience have been captured in these four books, which are written under the theme of Aura. Aura is AURA, which goes in line with the volumes of the book. This aura essentially is a distinctive energy surrounding a person or a team who have reached to a competence level through the knowledge and experience and able to move in the artistic direction. So these four books are written in that line, and when a professional and a business managers take advantage of going through this knowledge, they can achieve that aura. So R goes for applying project management principles for organizational transformation. That is volume 1. Volume 2 is understanding human factors and workplace environment. Volume 3 is respecting diversity, building team, meaningfulness, and growing to leadership. That is R. And again, R that goes for agility in project management and collaboration. So these four volumes brings the value of knowledge in the practical perspectives for the advancement of the profession and for advancements of the business. So you can take advantage of these books. All the best. Here I have the learned speaker, who is Todd White, who is CEO of ClearPeg, and he is running his consulting and support services company. And I may not be able to bring his complete profile and justify sharing that profile with you, so I will request Todd to please share his profile with you so that you can have better understanding of his exposure and his experience. And before that, I will take a couple of minutes to share with you the business complexities. The perspective of these business complexities are going to be discuss in this podcast for the capturing of knowledge, experience, and exposure of the learner speaker. These complexities have been listed down into the four areas, that is external, internal, operational, and strategic. And you can imagine that external happenings are always outside the control of an organization. So whatever is happening in the external arena, the complexities are taking place and pushing the organizational competence and the advancement in the business. So whatever is happening in the external arena is bringing pressure on the internal competence building of an organization, and that internal competence is managing the operational advancements of the organization for business flow. And these three areas are required for the businesses to manage their strategic advancements, because the flow of organization is not enough. They have to stay in business, and for that continuity of business, they need to work on their strategy, and that strategy has got to be developed with view of the happenings in the external, internal, and operational area. So these are the areas. I don't need to go into the details into each area of it. You can take a look of it, but I will request the speaker to make his responses to the questions with reference to these complexities. So here, before I go into the details, I will request the speaker to please share his experience, exposure, and knowledge. Please.
Well, thank you, Aslam. Appreciate the introduction. My name's Todd White. I introduced myself as a recovering engineer. I've reinvented myself no less than 5 times. Initially, the first 10 or 15 years of my career, boots on the ground mechanical engineer. Last 10 or 15 years, I've been in strategy consulting. I've had my own business with software. 2 years I spent in global HR. I've lived in Taiwan, Dubai, China. So I've been all over the world. When it comes to what I do and how do I do it, I work with leaders that have very, very sought after professionals, and the professionals are typically, in many ways, they're too smart for their own good, and they're too poachable to be comfortable with. And we've all been there. We've been in meetings where our top performers, we don't know if they're going to make us $1 million or cost us $10 million in how they're engaging with people and the workforce. So we talk about internal and external and complexities out there in the global market. We're facing times we've never seen before. We're all put in unfamiliar circumstances. We're managing large projects. And so that's the space in which I play, is helping people understand where they are, how to grow, how to excel at their careers and move forward. What I find is you got 2 phases, 2 elements of a career, or how you engage in the world in general. Most people focus on performance to plan, which is extremely important, but those things are fairly objective. We can tick boxes and know how we progress. It's the second element in terms of human relationships and how we engage with people that most people kind of struggle at a certain level, particularly people that are of a technical nature. We get into details, we get into managing schedules, we get into ticking those types of boxes. We often forget how important that human engagement piece is, and we miss that. And so sometimes we're not able to onboard people to our level of thinking and engage them to move things forward. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of background on myself, but I've reinvented myself 5 times. And when it comes to internal and external and how all those things play in the current work environment, we have to deal with a lot of complexity and ambiguity. That said, I'll turn it back over to you for a little while, and maybe we can get another question or 2 in there that you might have.
All right. So that's great. Thank you very much for your sharing exposure and learnings and knowledge. That's great. Okay, so the first question will be, how and what were you able to help out the businesses and help out the professionals in your contact to manage in these business complexities arena in the recent past and in the present time? That is the first question, please.
Well, yeah, what I've done, Aslam, is about 20 years ago, I started developing some different frameworks, and the framework I've spent the last 4 years really work hardening and just nailing. I call it the 5 pillars of professional development. And what we find is by going through these pillars in order, they're enabled to have a much better conversation and understand how to engage. So the first pillar is purposeful influence. And so what we look to here are the behaviors that get us moving in the right direction to have influence. And influence really is the new currency. Everybody's begging for attention. So we've got a few minutes, few seconds now to garner someone's attention. And it's our behaviors that earn us the right to have purposeful influence, or what some people call executive influence, to getting people to listen to us. The second pillar that we look to is confidence and credibility. And what we know here is that's our knowledge and our experience that gives us, it enables us to have the confidence and credibility, because as we move into new roles, as we engage with different people, as we're managing different projects, we're always in trying to figure out, you know, what level of confidence do we have and how we can deliver what we're doing, and how do we get people to listen to us both internally and externally, such that they feel safe in what we're doing. So the second pillar is engaging with confidence and credibility. The third pillar that we get into in the 5 pillars is success drivers. And we know that it's the combination of influence, confidence, credibility, and competence that's going to enable us to have virtuous success cycles. And it's those elements, coupled with risk, that enable us to really move forward and drive, virtuous success cycles. Some people we encounter, they just seem to always hit success time after time after time. There's a recipe behind that, but it has to do with onboarding those specific elements. The fourth pillar is around decision-making accelerators. So we look through the whole concept of design, build, buy, and run, and having decision-making accelerators that help us. We learn from our past experiences and what worked and what hasn't, and we can make decisions much quicker. The fifth pillar that we get into is intentional velocity. And what we hear a lot of people talking about, going faster, going faster, going faster. So a lot of speed, but speed without direction is chaos. So when we looked at those elements, how do we get people moving at speed, at direction, to deliver on all the elements that they're supposed to be delivering on, specifically in a project? So that's what we look to do, is to enable people with the 5 pillars of professional development. And it's through engaging with that, through the conversations and scoring where people are, we can understand their current state and engage with them to move them to their desired future state. And understanding what that is, then we can fill in those gaps, which are going to enable them to drive virtuous success cycles.
Right. Very impressive. I mean, your 5-pillar factor is really important, and that is very valid in the present time challenges. Very rightly you have mentioned that, and that approach must have brought the real success. I totally agree with you. Thank you very much for sharing all that. Moving to the next question, I will now ask you that what is your feeling and advice to the businesses and to the professionals to move to the next level of performance?
Yeah, this one is really, I mentioned before, what gets people on the human engagement side is they focus so much on performance to plan, and they skip or bypass the importance of that human relationship element. And what does it take to advance, particularly with technical people? They're very, very strong on getting the technical aspects right. So they're very, very strong individual contributors. And then as they get engaged with perhaps multi-million or billion-dollar projects, their success becomes much more subjective. It's not just how technically adept you are, it's how well do you engage with the client? How well do you build and engage and grow your team? So as an individual contributor, you can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's all you can do. At a certain level within your career or your organization, it's not what you can do, it's what can be accomplished with the resources you have at your disposal, whether it's time, people, money, other resources that are there. But going from an individual contributor to a team collaborator, that's where most people struggle. That's where the biggest, I call it the juice for the squeeze, results in. So when you squeeze an orange, you can, if you squeeze a baby orange, you can only get so much juice. If you squeeze an older orange, there's not much juice left. But in the middle, where somebody's career is very subjective, there's a lot of juice for the squeeze. And the sooner you're investing in that, the more opportunity there is to get a lot of juice for that squeeze. So the investment return on that can be, you could say it's minimum 4 to 1. It's likely 10 to 1 or 100 to 1 or 1,000 to 1. But when you get people on fire, they become engaged. They can move a project forward, because we can wrestle with technology. We can do a lot of different things on the one by one piece, but it's engaging people and having that human connection, being able to pivot. So you can work a project plan to death, but if you cannot engage people to move those things forward, it can just be stuck. Hopefully that should give you a little bit idea on where we see things going.
Right. I love that example. I mean, you can use the humans to a limit, of course, and for that you have to provide that supportive environment where you can make the best of the humans, and to make the best productivity of the humans. They're very right. Here I would like to understand, what is your advice for collaboration with AI? Because now everything is being talked about, that in every area, particularly in advancements with the human factors, that you collaborate with the AI and bring in the best. And with that collaboration, you enhance the productivity. So what is your advice for that?
Oh boy, I love this one, and I hate it at the same time. I use AI every day, and I know enough just to know I don't know enough about it. But you got Facebook AI engineers making $800,000 a year now just playing in that space. But the thing that is missing to me with AI is the context. Everything we just spoke about, the context of what works, what doesn't, how does this client behave, how does that client behave. So I don't know, at some point AI may be able to bring the context to the conversation, but human engagement is so important now, because until your AI buys from my AI and they deliver it, I don't know what humans will do at some point. But it's that human engagement piece, because people buy from people interface with people. And that's the point with AI, is getting the context. And what so many people are missing right now, particularly I'll call it Gen Z and the younger millennials, with COVID and the lockdowns and everything else, they're missing the human engagement, that interaction piece, learning how people think, how they interact. What does it mean to go and grab a cup of coffee with someone, or have dinner or lunch, or reading those pieces? I don't think AI will ever be able to do that or replace those elements. The other thing I find with AI, it hallucinates. If I just ask it one question at a time, I can do pretty good. But if I've had a longer conversation, it doesn't necessarily forget what I've said. It will hallucinate. And if I'm not smart enough to know it's hallucinating or putting some, garbage in there, I'm going to make a lot of poor decisions. And I see that now with a lot of people. They don't want to take notes. They won't make decisions. They're not prepared for a meeting. And when we talk about executives, sometimes they got 5 minutes to make a decision. I need $1,000 or $100,000 or $1 million. I don't have 10 days to explain it. I got to bring that information right to the table and be able to back it up with good information. But again, it's being able to have context. It's being able to take and get specifically to the points at hand that enable people to make decisions. So, AI's, I think Grok 4 just came out. Everything is every day you wake up, AI has replaced an entire industry. And so what tools? I looked down last year. I learned like 25 different tools, and you no sooner learn a tool than it becomes obsolete. You wake up the next morning, PowerPoint's obsolete because Gamma has done something with it, or I don't know exactly what to tell people to study. And I've heard that by the year 2027, all PhDs will be obsolete. Knowledge is free. It's what do you do with that knowledge? How do you package it? Which brings it all back to external, internal, operational, strategic. They're all muddled together now. And as humans, we have to figure out how to align those dependencies and move ourselves and our organizations forward, which means we better be able to learn fast and unlearn fast and figure out how do we remain relevant.
Very right. I think that's the right thing, and that's what exactly needs to be done, because humans needs to be made productive, and when the humans are supported to collaborate with AI, then their productivity can go to any limit, and that needs to be managed, because replacement, of course, is not a solution, because as you very rightly said, that finally every business is being done for humans, by the humans, and through the humans. If you take out the humans from in between, then the whole things just comes down to the floor. So naturally, that's not going to work for a long time. And as you said very rightly, that decision makings has been placed on AI, and whatever is happening up there, whether it's right or wrong, the decisions are being made for any level of amount. So naturally, if the humans are not prepared for that level, naturally it won't bring that fruit in the long run. I totally agree with you. And for that, of course, it needs to be learned, it needs to be managed, because humans in no way can be replaced altogether. Yes, you can provide the support services.
Well, it's now we come back in bringing this thing kind of back to full. It's complexity and ambiguity, and we talk about complexity and ambiguity, and this is what really frustrates people on the PMO side. So business development, sales goes out and makes a sell, and you have to have a lot of complexity. Typically, you've got to accept a lot of complexity and ambiguity. You'll never sell anything, right? You can't get zero risk. So once they do that, it gets passed over to the delivery team, and the delivery team has to accept complexity, ambiguity, but then stomp it out to be able to deliver the product or the project. And so this is the rub, and AI really makes that even much more of an element. But you have to have good levels of decision authority, knowing where you can make decisions, what's already been decided. But complexity and ambiguity has, frequency, duration, magnitude. If I have to deal with complexity and ambiguity once a year, that's one thing. If I got to deal with that 10 times a day, that's a completely different game. So on the PMO, the management side, the engagement side, understanding, accepting, getting that relationship right, it's a very, very tall order. And most people they're honestly not prepared for it. So they get into a reactive mode, or they get into a very detailed technical mode that they're comfortable with. But it's those people that are aligning those dependencies and pulling it together. And it's that constant tension with complexity and ambiguity that either makes us or breaks it. And I'm sure we've seen some people, they just have the finesse to work with it. And others, they just kind of want to crawl into a hole and hope for a better day tomorrow.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So the bottom line is that organizations need to develop their human teams and human supports, human resource, so that they with the help of the AI, they can enhance the productivity, they can enhance their efficiency. But it cannot be put as humans or AI. I mean, that's the wrong approach, I believe. And I think organizations who are going for absolutely based on AI, probably they are going to learn a very hard lesson sometime in near future. What do you think?
I think we have a storm that's brewing. I go to so many. I went to a conference here in Houston. I've been a month or so ago now, but all of these companies are forcing AI. They're forcing employees to use AI. You have companies like Shopify and others that come out and say, unless you prove to me we can't do this function without a bot, I'm not hiring anybody. But companies are forcing AI. And when you look at what they're forcing errors into their system. So employees are being forced to use AI or functions. So they're being forced to use it, but they're just playing around, they're dabbling. And so you push AI into a system, it starts hallucinating. And this is the thing, when you look to coding and other stuff, there's a lot of things that are happening. People don't even know what they're grabbing and putting in with these APIs and other things. They could be installing bugs, security risk, and things like that into their systems. So I see a storm brewing with AI. At some point, the exposure that companies are inputting, because they're pushing people to use it, but they don't know exactly what they're getting. And unless they have the right governance and security and infrastructure, they're just putting a lot of things into that system. Because if AI is hallucinating 20% of the time and putting garbage into your system and you don't know what that is, that's the storm that I see brewing. And people, excuse me, some people, they're just becoming stupid, or they're not paying attention. If you force me to use AI and I use it, or I don't get a comp or a promote, I'm going to use it. It's just like job safety work orders. If somebody comes out with a metric says we don't have enough job safety work orders in the system, well, you get a whole bunch of work orders in the system. It doesn't mean anything other than people are being forced to comply with what that system is. But that's my concern with AI. And the more I see it and the more I'm exposed to it, we've all been there, and companies are pushing AI. And the more they push it, if you beat on me for not doing something, then okay, you'll stop beating when I start doing it. But that's my concern with AI, for all the pros. And there's so many good things that can happen, but when companies are mindlessly just pushing AI into the everyday and they're not paying attention, all these note takers and they're not paying attention is what's going to happen. And it's just a matter of time before we'll probably see those first dominoes start to fall. And it's project management is a prime example. You're working with multi-million, billion-dollar projects, and somebody puts some trash software or bugs into your system, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Very right. So one have got to be careful for the use of AI, and of course there should be a purpose behind it. It should not be just with the flow of the time. I totally agree with you, because you have to develop your manpower. You have to develop your human resource, and if you do it in an effective manner, then only it will bring you the fruit. It will bring you the desired results. I agree with you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that effective compared to efficient. Everybody's pushing efficiencies, but we're not pushing being effective.
Yeah.
If I'm lost in New York City with a map of Chicago driving real fast, I can be efficient, but I'm not going anywhere. Too many people are not focus on being effective first. If I'm working on the right things and I know I'm effective, then I can ramp up efficiencies. If I'm just trying to efficiently deploy AI, I'm asking for trouble. But if you haven't figured out, I can talk for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So the business managers have got to be careful in this perspective. Of course, learning AI in a way is a good thing, but you have to be choosy. You have to find out in what way. And of course, that way have got to be established. Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Okay, so let me move to the next area, and this is the expert services provided by PMO Strategists. The PMO Strategist provides the support services to the businesses in the area of strategic advancements and assessment of the gaps in the strategy and execution. So PMO strategists provide strategic alignment and disciplined strategy execution. This is the four most important area, particularly in the present time of challenges where businesses are lost in the complexities, ambiguities, and uncertainties. And there to move in their desired strategic directions has become more challenging. So PMO strategists can help out and helps out the businesses and professionals in that way. It also brings the support for the PMO functions optimization. If the organizations have got their own PMO set up in their own organization, that can be evaluated, that can be assessed, and if required, the optimization of the functions can be supported. The change management, which is the need of the present time, is the area where the organizational muscles needs to be developed for moving in that strategic directions. So the change management is area where PMO strategies helps out the businesses to develop that muscles where it moves on with the changing requirements and changing circumstances of the business. The fourth area is leadership, because without having a strong leadership, you cannot think of moving in the strategic directions. You cannot think of moving and building strategic thinking and strategic culture. So that is done through strong leadership, and that leadership can be managed and worked out, and the environment can be created for that strategic leadership by the services of PMO strategies. The second area is training. The PMO strategies also provides and builds competence of the organizations through building resilience and adaptability. It helps enhancing communication and collaboration. Communication is the backbone of an organization. Without having structured, efficient, and effective communication, the organizations cannot move in their strategic directions. They cannot have their business flow. So that communication can be dealt with in an effective manner by PMO strategies. The third area is driving innovation and creativity. Innovation and creativity is said that present time is the economy of innovation, and that is the area where PMO strategies can bring out that environment and that training in the team for moving with innovation and creativity. The fourth area is developing strategic thinking and problem solving. Without strategic thinking environment, the organizations cannot think of helping their teams to move in their strategic directions. So these are the major four areas where PMO strategies can help out the businesses to move effectively in their strategic directions and build their teams in an effective manner on a continuous basis. With this, thank you very much. And here are the areas where you can reach out for your desired area to understand and to learn more. And before I close down, I will request the learned speaker, if anything additional he wants to share with the prospective participants. Todd White, please, if you have anything more to share, please.
Well, I just want to wish everybody the best out there. Learn the human engagement piece. That's a true differentiator. And with AI, it's going to become more and more important to engage, reach out, focus on the human bank accounts, and keep moving forward.
Thank you very much. With this, let me assure you that if you want to need and ask any question, feel free to reach out. You can reach out to the speaker, you can reach out to me, and rest assured you will be responded effectively and the necessary clarity will be provided to you. So with this, all the best for your learning, and thank you very much once again.